And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellison. Appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of one of your afternoons. This afternoon, as we are live from Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville, 3417 North College Avenue. And you can come and hang out with us as we're going to tell you all about the Razorback Apparel, all the great stuff that's going on along with it. They got basketball gear, they got warm wear, they got cold wear, they got everything. And fellas, as we are trying a new streaming service today because of yesterday's fiasco, is already off to a roaring start. But hey, we're here at Alumni Hall and the vibes are always high. But how are we feeling here on this Friday as we are live from Alumni Hall?
Good, great. Happy to be here. I really am happy to be here. I love coming out to Alumni Hall. I do not love technical issues.
Neither do we.
What are you going to do? So here we are. But they got a lot of stuff out here. You know, I realized when I walked in, I don't own an ugly Christmas sweater. But I saw some sitting up there. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe that's going to be my move here. Because you get invited to those parties sometimes. And I just got to break something just old out of the closet and put something weird on it. But it might be the move.
Yeah, I walked in today not owning a hat from Alumni Hall. I now own a hat from Alumni Hall. I had to break the seal. I honestly can't believe it. It took that long for me to make one of those purchases, but I like the hat I got on. You like this? Hopefully, I don't get as many bad compliments as I did on the front-facing hog. People really didn't like that hat. Hopefully, they like this one a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be a lot of fun being out here because, again, we always enjoy being here. We always enjoy getting a chance to check out all the great stuff that we have here as far as apparel goes. And we're going to tell you all about it because we'll have our Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas giveaway today, which we have a ton of entries. And we'll have that later in the show around 1 o'clock. So be sure to tune in for all of that. We're also going to be talking about the latest of the Razorback football coaching search, Razorback basketball side of things too, and of course get to your chats and everything, making it happen. But guys, I know the weather's been up and down, but it's beautiful outside, and we got basketball tonight, Jackson State, 7 o'clock in Bud Walton Arena. Can't wait to be out there for that and to see how everything's going to go down and to see if this team can actually, you know, have an easy, comfortable, awesome win to where we don't have to worry about having any sort of problems in the under 4 timeout at the end of the game.
I really, really hope that that's the case, John. Jackson State's not very good, man. If you go just look at and they played a tough schedule, whatever, we'll give them that. But, man, Louisville smacked them. Illinois smacked them around. Auburn beat them by nearly 60 the other night. It just doesn't seem like this needs to be a game where there's any funny business. They're not as bad as Maryland Eastern Shore was last year. I think they would beat that Maryland Eastern Shore team by like 25 or something. But if you go and take a look at, you know, just like Ken Palm or whatever, or the stats, everything like that, they rank near the bottom of the country in pretty much everything. So this should be a game where Arkansas gets a little get right, a feel-good Friday, and maybe just get a little bit of momentum and some confidence going into Duke next week.
Yeah, we always talk about it where I think sometimes fans lump all mid-majors into like the same category. So like if Arkansas were to win by 4 tonight, people would say, well, you know, they only beat Winthrop by 1. And so like, is this really that bad? Yes, this would be that bad. This would be a very different thing. Like you mentioned, this team has been used to getting whipped. They get whipped by anybody good that they play. You need to fit that category. You need to fit that criteria. And frankly, coming into the year, I didn't think that would really be an issue. I thought that Arkansas crushing cans would actually be like just a given that we could count on. But seriously, no funny business. You said it. It's Friday night. We're not going to get a great crowd. We're not expecting the attendance issues to be solved tonight. But let's just have fun at Bud Walton Arena tonight. Let's just have fun. Hogs take care of business. Everything goes according to schedule. And let's at least for the people, for the 9 or 10,000 that show up, let's have a good time. Yeah,
that's all it's about, is just having a good time, having a game to where you're leading in right into the Thanksgiving holiday. And it's one where, again, football's been such a downer. There's a game, actually. I don't know if you guys knew. Arkansas football still playing a game tomorrow against Texas. It's like
when we planned this Alumni Hall trip the day before the Texas game, we thought it was going to be a bigger event, huh?
Yeah, well, a little bit, but it's not, and that's okay because listen, it's like I'm curious because I know we'll talk basketball and we'll get into everything in the chats and appreciate everyone's patience with us, but like football wise, like is there anything? I mean, we're going to watch it, we're going to talk about it, but is Razorback fans, what are they watching it for? If they watch it, I'm not saying you shouldn't. If you do, it's great. You're a Razorback fan, but like, what's the point of it?
It's Razorback football. You know what I mean? It's just you watch your team through the good and the bad, and it at least gives you something else to talk about. If you need a break from the coaching search, then you can watch this current team play and kind of reiterate to yourselves why Bobby Petrino is not the answer moving forward. If basketball is not your thing, whatever, you need some time to kill on Saturday. Tune in and watch the game. And it's Texas, so even when it's a situation where we know, like Arkansas football, the season's in the tank and everything, it kind of is to them, based on their standards over there. But we all hate Texas, right? So at least you could get something out of watching that, maybe. But there's not a whole lot there. I got to be honest with you. It's why we haven't spoken on it this entire week. We haven't mentioned Arch Manning this entire week. I mean, it's there's a lot of low-hanging fruit there that we could have gotten into, and we didn't. So, here we are.
There's a few reasons to tune in. Check it out. You just got to make sure. You just got to make sure they're dead. You got to just keep an eye on them. I do think a lot of fans will probably just tune in, and I think there will be a few that tune out. But honestly, guys, I'm going the other direction. A third of our fan base still wants Bobby Petrino. And so, honestly, for the third of that fan base, tomorrow's a big day for them. They got to win. It's a must-win game. Because we can't keep doing the Bobby bit if they keep losing games. So honestly, tomorrow's going to be the day they beat Texas, crush their dreams. And then me and Curtis in the chat tomorrow, I guess it'll be tomorrow at like 7:00. We'll be fielding a bunch of, are we so now Bobby P? No Bobby P. That's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, see, and that's what's crazy is because we know everybody in the Razorback fandom wants a different coach. I'm just convinced that of all the tens of hundreds of thousands of Razorback fans out there, nobody wants the same person. And so when you're out on social media, and again, it's not a huge representation, but guys, there is still, to this day, a strong amount of Razorback fans that want Bobby Petrino as the head coach. And I'm not saying that if he wins tomorrow, he should be the head coach. I don't think it matters personally. And from what's been going on, hopefully they're not still strongly considering him, because that would be a weird deal if you've made these strides in the coaching search and suddenly you're like, oh, Bobby beat Texas. Well, I guess we got to throw him back into the mix. Like, you don't need to have that mentality, but I'm just not worried is maybe the right word, but just interested to see how it'll go if Arkansas found a way to screw around and win a game, especially on the road, especially against Texas, your old rival, and how players, because somebody's going to ask one of the players, whether it's Taylor Green or whatever, hey, so after this game, do you think like Bobby Petrino should be the coach? And what do you think the players are going to be like? Man, no way. That guy sucks. Like, I don't want him as the coach. Like, they're not going to say that. So it could just really kind of throw, as far as the public feelings on everything, kind of throw a little bit of weirdness into the mix.
Well, don't think about it too much, because it's not going to happen. But yeah, it would be funny if it did. And it would just be another layer of added nonsense. This coaching search has gone completely off the rails. You know what I mean? So if the only thing missing at this point, oddly enough, is inserting Bobby Petrino back into the conversation. So I actually retract what I just said about not thinking about it too much. That's probably exactly what will happen, because that's the only thing left that we need to make this completely crazy.
I don't know who to attribute this quote to, but I remember hearing one time, never do the thing that your opponent is begging you to do. It's 4th and 2 at the 40-yard line, and like your opponent, they can't get a stop, and then you punt. It's like you let them off the hook. It's like they kind of reverse psychology you into doing what they wanted you to do. That is the feel I get when I talk to people outside of the Razorback fan base about this coaching search. Everyone kind of brings up the Bobby thing. I was talking to a buddy like literally 2 days ago, and he was like, so, is there any chance, any world, maybe the Bobby thing happens? And he has like a smirk on his face. And it's because I think the entire country is looking at the situation. Matter of fact, we had a chatter in here, an Oklahoma fan that came in throughout the year, and he was like, I'm just here to see if y'all actually hire Bobby Petrino. And I do think there are a lot of people nationally who like see the opportunity for Arkansas to do something that would be so funny and so perfectly on brand Arkansas, and just so like it would all the stereotypes, all the weird jokes that we argue against, it would all come to fruition if Arkansas wound up hiring Bobby Petrino. And I think there are a lot of people nationally who, again, realize it's a real thing. And of course, there's people in the fan base who think it's a real thing. I think the entire country is waiting to turn Arkansas into another, the official laughing stock of the SEC. But I really do. I've gotten that sense. Everyone I've talked to outside of the Razorback fan base, they all think about the Bobby thing and they know it's a real thing and they laugh when you talk about it. And so it's like, I just hope Hog fans understand that context. And look, there's plenty of times where you hire someone and, maybe everyone laughs at you and then it ends up being great. That can happen. I'm not saying that can't happen here, but I do hope people understand you will be the laughing stock of the country if this whole thing goes down with Bobby.
Yeah, you will be. Yeah, you will be. Because it's like you have like one chance at this to kind of get it right. And I think you're already being viewed upon by everybody as, well, you're Arkansas. You've now been surpassed by Vanderbilt. Like, Guys, I was talking to some friends in the who do other Locked On SEC podcasts, and they weren't being like jerks. They were honestly like, do y'all see yourselves at Arkansas being the bottom dweller of the SEC? I was like, no. I mean, the fans don't see them that way. They're like, but you kind of are. And it really just depressed me because there is that element of people who believe that, whether it's true or not, or whether you believe it as a fan, there is the outside noise that they kind of look at you as like, oh, geez, they're not, Vanderbilt's better than them. And that's why it's really depressing and scary for so many Razorback fans because of that fact. And when you're going up against a team like Texas and say, again, if you win tomorrow, I'm not saying you will, but if you did, everyone would be like, yeah, cool. Like it'd be about Texas. It'd be about, wow, Texas is done. Sark needs to be fired. Like you're that low to the ground to where nobody would give a rip about, oh man, what a great win by Arkansas. Nope. It'd be, what's wrong with Texas? Fire everybody, explode it, because you're just so irrelevant right now as a program. And that's what's so unfortunate about everything.
They're trying to move if they're trying to move Sark out of there, if they're really looking for a reason, or if he wants to make that jump to the NFL, a good way to do it would be to lose to Arkansas in this game and tank out, because they've already got 3 losses, right? Because right now they're out, but you blow out Arkansas, and then if they blow out Texas A&M, they could at least do the thing where they're like, okay, well, if this team loses and that team loses and that team loses, then maybe we jump up and we steal a spot in the college football playoffs. So there's like that little inkling of hope that they still have, that it's not 100% over with for them. But, if they took the L to Arkansas there, that would be a very satisfying thing for us as Razorback fans, but it would definitely send them into complete frenzy over there.
Help me refresh my memory. Was Ole Miss, did they have 2 losses going into Fayetteville last year, or did they have 3? Were they in that situation where they were kind of like already, because they had some stupid losses, lost to Florida, lost to Kentucky, can't remember who their other one was, or LSU.
Right.
I believe they had at least 2 of those.
Right.
Had they lost that 3rd game before they came to Arkansas?
I'd have to look back upon it. I want to say they did, because they had a loss coming into Arkansas. I didn't know if that was the LSU game or not. I felt like they were coming off of a loss, and that's why they're like, man, they wanted to send a statement to make their playoff contention. But that's why I feel like they had 3, because they felt like they still could do it.
That's the kind of vibe here, because like you said, Texas technically, their season's probably, when I say over, like they're still going to go to like the Peach Bowl or whatever. But it's like, they're not going to make the playoff, but they're still going to be somewhat motivated as a team. I mean, you compare it to Arkansas, whose season is actually literally over. It's like Texas should be the much more motivated team. They're at home. It's not an 11 a.m. game, even though it's not a night game. They should have some type of enthusiasm about them. And I think that's what we saw with Ole Miss last year, where it's like, their season maybe didn't go the way they wanted, but there's always a moment where it's like, and frankly, Arkansas basketball should be in that mindset today of like, all right, listen, we've been playing poorly here lately, but like we can handle this. I think Texas is probably going to view that game through this type of lens, and frankly, they should. I mean, if you're Texas, there's no reason Arkansas should be competitive with you Saturday.
No, not at all. In fact, if you look at some of the things that they have, I think Texas, defensively, they're good. I think the D-line is one of the best in the SEC, if not the country, and that could cause some problems for Taylor Green when he's getting back into the backfield. And if he's running for his life, I just don't think you're going to be able to make the plays. And, I keep waiting, though, guys. I keep waiting to see, all right, when are they finally going to let go of the rope and just say, all right, we're done fighting for this because we keep losing. Is it going to be this game? I don't know. I mean, are you guys feel like, I think SARACEN has it as 8.5 maybe for Arkansas as an underdog? And do you feel like it's still going to be another 1-possession game, or is it going to be you're this is the time that they finally let go of the rope and get it blown out?
I think it's going to be another 1-possession game. I mean, I think it's what we're going to get at this point. If they haven't completely packed it in by now, I don't know why they would with 2 weeks left in this. You know what I mean? But I don't think the result's going to be any different.
Plus, Texas is kind of built to play in their offense is not a super electric one that moves the ball consistently. Although, of course, they should be able to against this Arkansas defense. I think it's going to be a blowout simply because I'm taking Bobby Petrino at his word. And Monday, he literally was like, "Yeah, it's kind of getting harder and harder to keep all these guys together." I'm sure that has been the case this entire time, and they've kind of kept it, together. They've got their flex seal trying to hold it together. I think at some point that dam is going to break. And honestly, I think Texas is the type of team that isn't good, but they can beat cans, and Arkansas is a can. And so it's like, I think this might have a chance to be the time when Arkansas really officially just checks out. But as always, you can never be surprised if Arkansas loses a 1-possession game. Arkansas finds a way to lose by 1 point. That should be your default setting.
Because guys, if Arkansas does lose by 1 possession, field goal, whatever it is, even though Arkansas lost, our narrative will be like, hey, once again, another 1-possession game. Everyone else is going to be like, Texas was overlooking Arkansas, getting ready for that A&M game, thinking that that's, the big rivalry and everything like that. That's how everybody would take it. So it doesn't matter. It's like, again, it's so unfortunate where there's no stakes on any of this. Like, there's no stakes on the game. You win, who cares? You lose, who cares? Like, yeah, Razorback fans will enjoy it. We'll enjoy it. It'll be nice to finally get that monkey off your back. But as far as the impact, where before the year started, guys, if Sam Pittman was the coach and you were fighting for something and then you went on the road to beat Texas, like that's the type of game that would be like, hey, if Sam Pittman was on the hot seat, that would be the one that gets him off the hot seat. If he was still flirting with the bowl game. But now it's like, it's just literally is not going to have, you could be a great game, awesome win, you beat Texas, it's funny, but it's going to have zero impact on the future of your program. Zero.
Yeah, no, means nothing. The coaching search rumors are going to have a way greater impact on how people feel about this football program than a win over Texas would.
So dumb.
Curtis, I think it was you that sent it in our group message. There was a video of Talon talking about his time at Arkansas, and he was like, man, it's been everything I could ask for. I'm blessed to be in this position. And listen, There's some truth, but yeah. I'm not trying to overanalyze that and be like, see, Talon doesn't want to win. Obviously, he wants to win. He would have preferred to have won more games. But I do think there is a little bit of something to that where I don't think losing eats away at these guys. Like, I don't think this Razorback team, when they lose these one possession games and they, face defeat and they're laying in bed that night and looking up at the ceiling and thinking about their lives, I don't think they are like, dang it, I can't believe we lost today. I think they kind of just know their place and they accept it a little bit. They play hard, and I don't think they haven't really quit in any game except the Notre Dame game. But I don't think these losses really are adding up and adding fuel to the fire, and you're getting a more and more motivated team. I think we are very much in a going through the motion stage right now with the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I do too. We're folks, we're live here at Alumni Hall at 3417 North College Avenue. For those of you who are looking to get some of your Razorback gear for the Razorback basketball game tonight. Also, guys, I don't know if you were one of the types that always did your early Christmas shopping, but they got Christmas music playing already here at Alumni Hall. So they're in the festive spirit. But if you need to get some great gifts for Christmas, this is the time to do it. You just come in and use that code HOGSBY20. You get 20% off your purchase. And we're wearing Kai Madden's jersey. I don't care what anybody says. This is Kai Madden. I'm the home whites. Curse is the road reds.
This is a Braden Webb jersey.
It's a good one, and people were complimenting you on the hat too.
Yeah, people like the hat. I appreciated that.
Yeah, because you're the hat guy of the group, which is funny because I feel like Curtis is now wearing hats pretty consistently. I started throwing in a little bit.
Curtis is big on the backwards cap. He's Colin Cowherd would be disgusted at Curtis's.
Colin Cowherd can suck it. But the thing about it is, and I think it's because I think it's a camera thing at home. But when I wear my hat forward, front facing on camera, it always looks like it's crooked or offset. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. So I always wear them backwards when I'm on camera. But most of the time when I'm just out and about, I wear them forward. There's a very specific reason for why I do that.
Yeah. I used to wear them backwards until I realized I have an oddly shaped head. And then it was just like, well, so if I ever see me wearing a hat, it's just because, my spray tan wasn't on point. My hair wasn't done up the way it was supposed to do. My makeup lady was on vacation, so I had to just throw in the towel.
Well, we'll move on from hats here in a second, but I do want to just point out, I sat there I don't know if y'all noticed, I was over there for 4 minutes because I was deciding between this hat and there was one that just says Woo Pig on the front. It's all white and then it just says Woo Pig in cool little letters. It's more of the trucker hat. Foam and then trucker or whatever, which I have a lot of those hats. Reason I went with this one is because I feel like the material I need to mix up the material on my hats a little bit.
It's a 4-7 hat. Is that what it is? 47?
Yes, 47. Great work. Great company.
Because of that stupid 6-7 stuff. Now, every time I see just 2 digits together, I'm like, that must be the way it is. And, there was, because at the basketball game, actually, I know, trust me, we'll move on from this. But the basketball game the other night against Winthrop, kids behind me, man, when Arkansas was about to get to 67, they were so upset because it was either them or Winthrop. I can't remember, but they skipped over it because it was 66, and they were just, it was ruined their night. They're Dad, I don't want to go home.
It's like playing 21 whenever you miss the free throw and you're stuck at 20 or whatever.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was rooting against Arkansas going to the free throw line because I just wanted to see them suffer where they didn't have to do anything like that. So, but again, folks, we're here live at Alumni Hall, and again, we'll get to a lot of your chats and everything here, but want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're presented by our friend over at Collier and Associates. It's Gracie Frizzell. She is the one when it comes to all of your real estate needs, and that's why she's our real estate expert here at Inside Arkansas, officially licensed in both Arkansas and Oklahoma, and she's here to take care of you, whether it's an investment property, a game day getaway, land investment, or a new home, Gracie is your trusted guide from start to finish. Give her a call or text today at 501-690-3868. Or for questions on anything real estate, you can hit her up on Instagram at Gracie Frizz. It's Gracie Frizzell of Collier & Associates, the official real estate expert of us here at Inside Arkansas. And again, we appreciate Alumni Hall having us out here today and being surrounded by Razorback gear. But tonight, guys, basketball, of course, is I'm hoping, the bullying has worked where the crowd's going to be really good. I feel like, Friday nights, nice outside, I guess high school football or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. I know we're going to talk about crowd, but the point is, I just want to see Arkansas come out and just beat the brakes off someone. I wanted that to happen last time. I want it to happen this time, just because like we talked about it when the game against Winthrop. Is it Winthrop or Winthrop? It's Thrupp. Thrupp. I'm going with that. Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah, it just is weird hearing just that part.
Little Thrupp.
But like this, you need something for just the fans' sake and their sanity of going into the Duke game feeling better, because right now they're kind of like, oh, I don't know. And if you have another close one or bad performance, not to say that you can't beat Duke, because anything can happen, but it's just you want to have a little bit of more confidence tonight and have a good showing, getting you ready for what will arguably be one of the biggest college basketball games of the regular season.
Yeah, and Duke's got some vulnerabilities. Like there's some things about that team that are, concern. I'm not saying they're frauds or anything. They're really good, but they're certainly beatable. You just don't know if Arkansas is in a position yet to get there based on what we've seen. And that's what's crazy about this, because I think about, and trust me, I get it. Exhibitions, they don't count. You don't know who you are as a team, whatever. But the way they were just able to overwhelm Cincinnati and Memphis, who are two, good team, not great. They're not going to go to the Final Four or anything like that, but certainly better than some of these mid-majors that you've been playing. The way that they did that, I was thinking, okay, this team's got that killer instinct to them. They got a little bit of swag about them, a different type of energy. They put their foot on the throat and they don't let up. And that's kind of what we've been missing. And I felt like we had some of that in the opener ever since that Michigan State game. And I know it was a frustrating loss, but a valiant effort, whatever. But since then, this homestand is supposed to be, all right, we know we got some stuff to work on. Like, let's make the tweaks. Let's figure it out. And then let's be better before this Duke game. And all three performances, they've gotten a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And the competition, in fairness, has gotten a little bit better and then better and then better. But still, you know what I mean? And so I think they just got to kind of recapture their swagger a little bit. And this is probably a good team to do that against here tonight, because Jackson State's not very good. And a lot of teams have had some get-right games, and some dudes who are in a funk snap out of it because they're playing these guys. They have the largest margin of defeat in college basketball. They're averaging losing by 4. They give up 100 per game, and they score 60. Like, they're averaging losing by 40 points. It's ridiculous. This should be a good opportunity for Arkansas to find that. I look at guys like, don't get mad at me for saying it, but Malik Ewan, for the love of God, if you're going to show up and have a performance and just give everybody a little glimmer that you've got a pulse for this basketball team, this would be a game to do it. If you're worried about Arkansas's rebounding, because in these two games against Sanford and Winthrop, they're down on the glass, on the offensive glass, which is ridiculous. They give up more offensive rebounds than anybody in the country. They get out rebounded by anybody more than anybody in the country. Like, there are a lot of reasons here to think that all of your weaknesses are areas that they really stink at as well. So you could just, even if it's against a team that sucks, show us that you're capable in this game, and I'll feel a little bit better going into Thursday.
100%. I also don't I think it's sometimes an oversimplification when people will be like, oh, if you're not playing well in this game, how are you going to play well in the SEC or whatever? Because there's different matchups, different things. But I do think there's something to that for someone like Malik Ewan, where it's like, if you're ineffective in this game, that tells us all we need to know about you. Like, that is the context we're going to view this thing through. I also think you touch on the Michigan State game, which clearly was a game that was a deflating one for Arkansas. It's one you kind of got the mirror put in front of you and realized, hey, you've got some issues to clean up. And I think in sports, it's always dangerous when you go into a game and it ends up being harder than you thought it was going to be. It's really hard mentally to bounce back from that. And that's happened to Arkansas for the last 3 games. They found themselves in games that were harder than they maybe expected going in. I'm hoping tonight is the opposite, where I hope that they've kind of, Cal's effectively sold them on, hey, you've got to treat your opponent with respect and blah, 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 and get up for this game. And so I hope Arkansas has a laser focus about them. And then they get in the game and find out, oh, wait, this is actually way easier than we thought it was going to be. Wow, this is a very different level of opponent. Now, I hope that doesn't lead to them taking their foot off the gas, but you talk about that swagger and that ability to really just overwhelm someone. I hope Arkansas is able to smell some blood in the water today, and I hope they're reminded of what that's like. When you have an opponent up against the ropes and you talk about that killer instinct, you put the boot to ass. Like, I want to see Arkansas feel that.
My thing is like, there's players that have played well at times and players that haven't. Like, we know, like, kind of like, okay, we know Malik Thomas, for instance. We kind of have an idea of what he's going to do or what he's trying to do. You know, we've seen Trevin Brazil play really good in a couple games and then just go away. Like, there's been something. Carter Knox, kind of the same thing. Like, which is there one? It may be multiple, but it's like, who needs the biggest confidence boost right now on this team? Like, that you need to be able to count on. Like, obviously, you know, there may be some players that are down on the bench that would be nice, but as far as just getting the confidence and playing well and being able to be themselves, like, who needs that the most right now?
I mean, there's a big part of me that immediately wants to go to Malik Ewan just because of the circumstances in the front court that Arkansas has. I think I'm happy with where Pringle's at. I'm happy with where TB is at. I think he's the most important player to figure some things out for Arkansas, because it kills their depth if they can't use him. But I don't know that I need him to be. I just need him to be functional on the floor for 10 to 15 minutes. I don't need him to be the guy that we even thought he was going to be coming into the year. The guy who I think really needs to figure it out and do so consistently is Carter Knox. Like, he's the one that really stands out to me the most about all this, because if, you know, I think back and it was UCA, so it's whatever. But if you have that big three between your two freshmen and Acuff and Thomas, two guys that are going to be first-round draft picks, and then if Carter Knox plays like one, you got three guys like that in your lineup that can kind of go off at any point there. That's really, really difficult to deal with, no matter what you have going on in the front court, no matter what you have going on with your rebounding and everything else. And we know that Carter is good for that. I don't know if Malik Ewan can figure it out, and it's an effort type of thing for him. That irritates me. For Carter, I think he's just trying to still figure out his way. Like, how do I play with these two freshmen? What do I make this look like? He's pressing too much. There's no doubt in my mind that Carter Knox wants it. When he's not playing well, he feels it. Okay, like you can see that, and I hope he's the guy that figures it out. He looked really good against UCA, and it's just kind of been this up and down roller coaster. But if he is consistent along with those freshmen, I just think Arkansas is really hard to deal with.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think Malik Ewan, of course, you'd like to get something out of him. He could certainly use a confidence boost. And not that Arkansas could survive without Malik Ewan, or that they would be, you know, they're going to be a good team without him. But there's less riding on him, where it puts Arkansas in a bad spot. But of course, if Brazil and Nick Pringle continue to be pretty good, you're probably going to be able to make it work in the front court for the most part. With Carter, if Carter is a zero for this team, it does completely change everything, because he's supposed to be kind of your reliability. He's a guy that, I mean, for his own sake, you know, has a chance to get drafted into the first round if he plays well this year. I think there's a lot at stake there, but I also think like the mentality and the identity of this team, you know, toughness and physicality and his versatility on both ends of the floor, I really think is huge. Knocking down spot up threes, his ability to defend. And I just think about that. I mean, you know, the kill, celebrate, kill again video that we love so much. That was the type of mindset Carter Knox had in the month of March last year. And you saw it, by the way, in that Texas Tech game. I know Arkansas ends up losing. What, he had 20 in the first half. Like, he had that type of mentality of like a guy that any given day, if you weren't paying attention, could absolutely kill you and could, you know, really on both ends of the floor completely impact the game. Not that he's not that guy right now, but I'm with you that I don't know if his mentality is necessarily in that right mind frame. And to be fair, it doesn't necessarily need to be right now. You know, we don't need Carter Knox to be in that kill mindset just yet, but I do need to know it's in there.
Well, and I'm sure anytime I can take a shot at Kentucky, I'm going to. So I'm going to do this real quick. If you have a lot of talent on a basketball team, high-level guys, NBA draft lottery guys, like all of that, there are very few coaches that can manage that effectively. Not to say that Calipari has done it every single time. There's been years when he was at Kentucky where he had high-level talent, but just couldn't get the pieces. No coach is perfect. But that's what gives me so much more confidence about getting it figured out because of John Calipari, where if you were at Kentucky with Mark Pope and considering how down they are in themselves, I'm like, we have no idea if Mark Pope knows how to handle that high-level talent and ego and all of that, because it takes a particular person to know how to manage it, know how to navigate through it. And that's what gives me some good feelings about Arkansas right now. It's just, hey, you got John Calipari. It's going to be okay. everything's going to be all right. But then if you have the nonsense that comes along with it, or maybe have a down game or whatever, it's like, well, Cal's been here before and he's navigated through it, so it'll be okay. We at least have the proof in the pudding and the evidence that this could be just fine and it'll all work itself out. Where if I was at Kentucky or something, I'd be like, this guy may be broken. Like, he may not have any idea, and we could spiral out of control right now. Like, it just helps. It basically stupid response, but it's nice to have a Hall of Fame coach that you can count on because he's a Hall of Fame coach for a reason.
Yeah, it is. And then, there are certain areas with Cal and coaching that people question all the time. Some, in-game stuff, X's and O, whatever. Ball screen defense, sure, I'll give you that one. But his ability to motivate players and manage egos and get guys to buy into the team concept and everything like that, that's not something that's in doubt, to your point there. So I do. The thing about Cal, and I'm a little bit frustrated that Arkansas is dealing with this right now, because the entire offseason and preseason, the messaging we were getting behind the scenes from Cal, from the players who were interviewed, was, dude, we feel like we're ahead of schedule. Like, we're ready to get to the games because we feel like we're rolling right now. Well, they're not. And you never know until it gets real on you, and some things start to get exposed. Some guys, like, roles start to be defined a little bit, and guys have to figure that out and settle into it. Okay, that's fine. But when I hear John Calipari talk after these games that are very frustrating, but he's not tripping. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He's transparent about, yep, this is not good. Yep, got to get this guy going. Yep, we got to do this. That's on me. We'll figure it out. That makes me feel better. And I know that's something that maybe drove Kentucky fans mad, down the stretch of his tenure there. But that gives me a little bit of comfort, because I've seen him do that over and over and over again. I look at this team right now, and there are some areas where it's like, this might be a little bit broken, but it's very fixable. And I believe in him to be able to do that. We know the talent is there for this basketball team. And if there's anybody who can get him to buy in, I think it's Cal. And the flip side would be to be in a situation, we're talking about, like comparisons with Kentucky here, the way Mark Pope has handled that is driving everybody crazy as well. It just, when you look like you're beaten, and when you look like you're defeated, and you're just up there and your head's about to explode and you're frustrated and exacerbated, teams take on the identity of their coach, man. And so I don't know how quickly that's going to get better. If I'm a player that's wondering, shoot, man, where's this headed? I feel like we're scuffling right now. But then I hear Cal, and he's probably giving some of that same message in the locker room. I'm like, all right, we're going to be fine. Let's get back to practice. Let's get out here against Jackson State. We'll be all right. We'll figure it out.
Well, and I think you're definitely onto something in terms of Cal getting the best out of the individual players, which, for all of Cal's ups and downs, that's one thing he has made a consistent track record of doing it, of getting the most out of these individual guys and finding things in their game that they can unlock. And I think that's huge. I think I said the other day on the stream that it's not that every single issue Arkansas has comes down to just individuals that need to be better, but you look at a lot of these plays, whether it's a play they give them an open three. Well, one player didn't communicate, didn't rotate quick enough. That's on him, and I think that Cal getting these guys to buy into the best version of themselves. He said the other day that if the players, he always tells them, if you're getting mad at me and you think I'm being too hard on you, I'm coaching the player that I see for you. If I'm coaching Malik Ewan, I'm coaching the version of him that I see, which is this great offensive threat who has some versatility, can actually threaten some bigger bodies who, might not have the physicality, but hey, he's athletic and he's skilled. He can actually threaten other guys with his skill set. And that's another thing that I think is huge, is that we go into every matchup, and every team has their strengths and weaknesses. Every team has their identity. And we always talk about how these teams can impact Arkansas and what Arkansas is going to have to do to slow down these teams. I can't wait till we start having conversations about how the hell is Tennessee going to slow down Carter Knox getting to the rim? How are they going to have an answer for Trevin Brazile hitting threes and scoring in the post? Like, I want Arkansas to start threatening other teams with stuff instead of worrying about what other teams can do to you. And I think that's going to come whenever some of these individuals take their games to certain levels, get a little bit more confidence. And then by the time we roll around February, March, you have a motivated group with a bunch of individuals who are thriving in their roles. And that's when you see something as a team. And ultimately, it's not all about individuals. You do have to make it work as a team, but I do think a lot of these specific guys getting some confidence, getting some comfort in their role, and maybe some of these older guys that are back, like a Carter Knox, like a DJ Wagner, maybe they'll start being a little bit more assertive. Maybe they'll start saying, hey, I've kind of waited back. I've let everything play out. Now it's time for me to put my imprint on this team. We'll see how that plays out, but I do think there's still so much room to grow for all these individuals and for them as a group.
We'll continue to discuss the basketball team here as we're live from Alumni Hall, but I want to remind everybody that Blue Ember Smokehouse is one of our great sponsors here on Inside Arkansas. It's a family-owned smokehouse specialized and handcrafted barbecue, and have tender brisket, home cooked sides. You'll find a hearty meal for every member of the family. And a lot of you are, getting ready for Thanksgiving and everything. Well, guess what? Today's the last day that you can put in an order to have one of their great whole turkey breasts whole turkeys that feed 18 to 20 people for $70, whole ham that feeds 18 to 20 people for $65. And they can also get turkey breasts that feeds 12 to 14 people for $55. You can also go ahead and put your orders in for Christmas time, because that's going to be here before you know it, where if you want to get some of their great sides on top of those, where they have the big pans, half pan, full pan, they have each and everything you possibly have. You can do gift cards. They cater events, weddings, everything. So be sure to check out Blue Ember Smokehouse here in Arkansas. They have all these different locations in the state, as you can see on your screen. Go ahead and give them a call, whether it's Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, or Rogers. Do it with Blue Ember Smokehouse. This holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the seasons right here with Blue Ember Smokehouse. Again, we're live from Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville. And I know we'll get to some of your chats, folks, as well. But when we were talking about the basketball team and looking at it, going into January has always been an interesting thing, because we've seen times, I know it's different coaches, different everything, but we've seen times going into January, getting into conference play, where we felt pretty good about a team. They lost, I think the year that was like Jay Will and Note, they lost one, maybe two non-con games. I think they got smoked by Oklahoma and maybe lost some other random one. And then they got off to a rough start. But this is kind of a different animal because of the amount of great opponents that you're playing. I think that's what people really need to put in perspective. It's like, hey, if you lose to Houston and Duke, does that mean you're a terrible team? No, it'd be nice to win one of those.
It does a sense of urgency, though, to get games. And you don't have to win them all, but you can't lose them all. You know what I mean? Like, they can't go 0-5 in these games here, and then us not go crazy about the entire situation. So hopefully they figure some things out there. I like the matchups that they have. If I'm being honest with you guys, it's like, I think Duke is a winnable type of game there. It's maybe in the situation that they're in right now, it's a little bit tough, but Texas Tech showing some vulnerability. Louisville, if they're not knocking down a bunch of threes, you feel like you have an advantage there. You have them at home. I don't know if anybody's going to show up to watch or not. Houston, Auburn had them on the ropes. They didn't look great in some of their bye games there early. So teams are going through this type of stuff throughout the country. Did anybody stay up and watch Eric Musselman and USC last night?
Man,
against Troy, like that. You want to talk about a gift? It reminded me of we were talking about Thanksgiving with Mason Jones back in the day, but my goodness, man, like, some teams are struggling out there and then they figure it out. The difference for Arkansas this year compared to previous years is they don't have 9 bye games against teams like they're playing tonight. They've got to, streamline the process a little bit. And again, we thought that they had already done that by having these returners in the house and some of the things that we heard in the preseason.
Yeah, I think that context of the rest of the schedule is so important, and it's why I saw someone in our new look revamped chat earlier that was like, "Man, y'all are acting like this is a make or break game tonight," and of course it's not. Like, the Arkansas season is not going to be determined by what happens in Bud Walton Arena tonight. But when you look at the rest of the schedule, this is our last cupcake before Duke. It's like, you don't necessarily have to figure it all out right now, but if you don't figure it out now, you're gonna have to do it in Chicago next week, or you're gonna have to do it against Houston, or you're gonna have to do it against Texas Tech, and so, or Louisville, whatever. And so it's like, yeah, it's always tough to talk about games this time of year, because no matter what, if you win big and you look great, everyone can say, yeah, but are you peaking too early? March, you got to worry about March. And if you lose, it doesn't matter. You just got to get better in March. And it's like, yeah, that's true. And so it's like, the season's not up for grabs tonight. But if you keep having that mindset of like, oh, now, we'll figure it out later, well, then you're going to find yourself in some of these dogfights with some really good teams, and not in a position where you're needing a win. But all of it kind of matters. And so we'll see if Arkansas can kind of take that one step in the right direction. It doesn't have to be completely to their peak, but we definitely need to see some type of progress. Tonight is a game and a matchup built in a lab to show you that progress.
That's right. Like, you just got to be able to prove yourself and prove to everybody that you're going to be making the progress in the right direction. And yeah, tonight it's just one of those games where it's like, hey, you're in this non-con, what you got left, you don't have a whole lot of opportunities to just beat the brakes off of an inferior opponent. And then once you get into the SEC, especially, nobody's really going to be that inferior. Yeah, there'll be teams that you're better than, but it's still, we all know how much of a grind it is. So it's just a matter of getting it out of your system now, taking care of business against teams you should, and not worrying about it the rest of the way. So again, folks, we're here live at Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville. Come on by and check out all the great apparel that they have here for Razorback basketball season and everything too. And use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase here today at Alumni Hall. All right, we'll get into some of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in and hanging out with us here today as we got a lot of things. Yeah, the revamped chat, if you would, is what's been going on here. But let's, as we all know, super chats get read first. Shout out to our guy, Cubs fan. Says, we must get to the bottom of the Silverfield hate. Head-to-head, Silverfield or rehired Pittman. If Pitt wins, pull out the big dog. Sylvie versus Chad.
Lord.
What is this, man? You paid money for this? You paid money for this, Chad?
It's a
No, I
roller
like
coaster here. I mean, you started off with the let's get to the bottom of the Silverfield hate, which, like, you know, I can get behind. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Why are we back in the situation of, like, we can only have the worst possible candidates?
I was along for the ride the entire time John was reading that, just for the record. Yeah, I know it's a strange spot that we're in. This is weird, this coaching search, and everyone that's ever been had in the history of man, whether it's, you know, Arkansas or anywhere else, for the most part, like Virginia Tech being an exception here, because they identified James Franklin, they went after him, and they got him. It's very rare that happens. Like the rumors and the roller coaster and the ups and downs is what makes it fun. This one seems particularly strange, to the point where, you know, we heard a lot of different things out there, and you talk about it and, you know, missed on this guy or that guy, and they're about to hire that, whatever. But then I look at it, and like there's 3 different national publications that I've looked at today or listened to, like Josh Pate being one of them. I read an article at The Athletic. We saw Marcelo stuff out there, and all those guys nationally. And I don't know how to feel about this. They're all kind of in the, yeah, I don't know what Arkansas is doing. You know, like they've interviewed half the country. I guess at some point they'll get a coach. Who knows? And that's kind of how Josh Pate was. And then Marcelo just threw out a bunch of names. He's like, well, here's some guys who have set foot in Arkansas before, so maybe they can hire one of them. And then the one at The Athletic was like, yeah, they remain in contact with Silverfield, Morris, and Gullish. And it's like the end. And he has like long, detailed things on every other team. I'm like, so is this just going nowhere? Or is Hunter Yurachek actually keeping this thing so buttoned up, and he's got like this master plan where he's going to surprise everyone? And I know that happened with Cal. We understand the circumstances, but the further along we get with the way that the reporting is coming out, it's like either this is a complete mess, or he really has, you know, found the cheat code to coaching searches here.
I was just gonna say, like, it is kind of interesting to me because, you know, when we heard the James Franklin thing, and we kind of all collectively as a state decided about a month ago that James Franklin was the top target. He was the top guy that made a lot of sense. You know, of course, nationally, we knew that would be a big deal. And I think a lot of Hog fans and a lot of guys that have information had it on very good authority that the U of A was interested. There had been some communication. We had even heard that James Franklin was actually looking into a little bit of, you know, asking some questions about the Arkansas thing. And then we had, you know, obviously some outlets, other people say, no, adamantly, no, absolutely not. That never happened. Arkansas was never interested in James Franklin. They barely even had a conversation. He was never a real threat to be Arkansas's head coach, which, like, again, I'm not even here to argue whether or not that is true or not. But to your point, if that is true, and you're saying adamantly, they never even reached out to James Franklin, why not? Well, then what are they doing? So does that mean that, like, for sure they have another guy that's better than James Franklin? Do they just kind of already know the direction they want to go? Do they just not like the fit? Like, I feel like you need to be prepared to tell me why they didn't go after James Franklin, and what is their plan B that's way better than James Franklin, or even just that their other plan that they know they for sure have. We just haven't gotten that definitively, which, like you said, not a huge deal. I mean, in coaching searches, a lot of these things happen in the dark, and we don't find out about them until they happen. But it is kind of weird how many people definitively are like, no, this is never going to happen. We could never do that. We could never hire Golish. We could never hire Morris. But then it's like, okay, well, then what are you going to do? Like, what is your backup plan that's so great? And don't tell me Bobby Petrino.
No. Well, I'm going to, guys, can I keep up a tradition like no other?
Let's do it.
I'm going to make a Star Wars reference while we were here at Alumni Hall, because that's what we have to do.
We do that every time.
We do that every time, so we got to keep it going. It reminds me of the worst Star Wars movie of all time, The Last Jedi, where the Admiral Holdo had this super secret plan that if she just would have, you know, told people about it, they wouldn't have had a mutiny on their hands and everything. And it was supposed to be at the end of the movie she was a hero for it. Like, that's kind of where we're kind of getting with, I feel like with the Yurachek and Arkansas and all that stuff is, you know, everyone's like, okay, can you just tell us, you know, have good vibes, good signs, and then at the end of the hire, it's going to be like, this is what I knew all along, you idiots. Yeah, I had a plan all along. It's like, did you really though? Like, was this the plan all along? And you're like, no, I should be viewed as a hero for feeling this thing.
To make this situation really work, the plan that Holdo ended up having was driving a ship into another ship and suicide, basically a kamikaze type of thing. If that's what Hunter Yurachek is going to do, sign me up.
Yeah. That's if it ends up being the benefit for the Razorback fans, then we're all for it. Again, appreciate everybody. A few more super chats here too. From Hickory Hog says, Inside Arkansas's props at the Palace, Amari Brown, over under 45 seconds playing time, Malik Ewan, over under 1.5 rebounds.
Over on Amir for sure. Over.
I'll go over on both in this one.
Okay. He'll grab 2 boards. I mean, he grabbed 2 boards the other night, actually.
He did do that.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, we already got that one. Sorry, I just wanted to bring up the Silverfield Haiti game one, apparently. Super chat from Josh Byers. He says the chances of Morris succeeding here are the same as getting struck by lightning while being attacked by a shark. 35-31 record coming into this year. Sheesh. So is it safe to say he does not want Eric Morris?
I think it's it's safe to say he doesn't want Eric Morris, and I'm not going to champion for him here, but so James Franklin goes 128-60 in his career, and in the SEC and at Penn State. And the conversation was, well, you can't just look at the record, the overall record. You got to consider everything. It's the big game stuff, and what's it gonna? He's not gonna have resources at Arkansas like he did at Penn State. It's just never gonna work. And so that's why we throw Franklin out the door for those who didn't want him at the time. And now you have a guy like Eric Morris, and we're just only gonna look at his coaching record without considering everything else. Where he has one of the lowest budgets NIL wise in the American, and he's getting ready to win that conference. Over there, and he might take North Texas to the college football playoff, and that's the best year he's ever had as a coach. Well, doesn't get much better than that. You know what I mean? It's like everybody has to start somewhere, but again, I come back to this where we do this thing. Everybody will like to throw out a name, and it's not, I like this guy because here's why he can't be the coach.
Right.
And so we really do nitpick everyone. And I get it. Any candidate that Arkansas brings in, whoever they hire, you are going to be able to look at them and go, it might not work because of this or that. Like everybody is going to have that. Nobody's perfect. You heard the crazy Dabo stuff the other day. If they brought Dabo in here, people would be talking about how he doesn't like the transfer portal. You know what I mean? Like there's something for everyone. That's what you have for Morris. We could do the same thing for Galesh or Silverfield or Matt Campbell or Kenny Dillingham or whoever. So yeah. I get what he's saying, but there's also nuance to the conversation.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot better than just like his overall record as a head coach, because like you said, then that would probably disqualify Matt Campbell. Just couldn't do it. PJ Fleck, who half the chat loves, his record kind of sucks too. So it's like you got to do a little bit better, and all these things are things you consider. Because I could do the thing the other way, and I could say, well, he's 9-1 this year, and he's about to go to 10-1 because he's going to beat Rice. So it's like, why wouldn't we want to hire a 10-1 coach? Obviously, there's more nuance to it, and I'm not a moron, so I would never try and make that type of case. But again, to your point, you can keep telling me all these guys that you don't like. You don't like James Franklin because he doesn't win the big one. You don't like Matt Campbell because he only goes 7-5 at Iowa State. You don't like Eric Morris because he's young in his career, and this is the first year he's had big success at North Texas. Same could be said for Alex Galesh. And just knowing the source of Josh Byers, I know it's getting to, so why don't we just hire Petrino? How would you not look at Petrino's record as a head coach and be like, yeah, that's not good enough? I mean, he went 2-10 his last full year as a head coach. He went 2-10 and got fired. His current head coaching position, he is 0-7 at. How does that equate to him being a legitimate candidate? And so it's like, again, I can take whatever your favorite guy is, and I could say, well, actually, he sucks for this reason, that reason, and this. For Eric Morris, I think the case to hire him would not be the fact that he's 21-15 or whatever. It would be, hey, he's a young play caller who has built 2 different programs. He had a lot of success at Incarnate Word, and I know people are going to pull up his Wikipedia right now and they're going to say, well, Andrew, he only went 7-5 in that 1 year at Incarnate Word. Yeah, he played 3 FBS teams that they lost to. They pretty much beat everyone else, won their conference, and then went to the semifinals of the playoff. Like, that is one you could look at and say, well, he's only 7-5, he sucks. There's a little bit of nuance there. Same with North Texas, where he goes 7-5 or 6-6, 7-5, and now 9-1. It's like, I see that as an upward trajectory. I don't know if that's necessarily something I would use as like a knock against him.
Well, and also to the point that you're making about like the coaches, we haven't done one for every name, but like I put out a poll question for pretty much all the coaches we did making a case for. Would you take him? It's not like, is this the one you want? It's like, if he was hired, would you take him? And I think every one of the coaches that we've listed had yes win the majority of it. But there was one coach that had the least amount of yes votes as far as percentages go, and that was Eric Morris. Only 55% said yes to him when it was overwhelming other ways. Now, I know as much as I'd like to admit it or like to promote it, that's not an exact indication of how the entire Razorback fan base feels. But it is interesting how there are some people that kind of gives you an idea of like, all right, who people, because you'll get somebody like on our Discord, there's like one guy in there just like, everybody else sucks. This guy's my number one. And the fact that you don't agree, they're going to have people that do that. But when you get an
Everyone
actual,
feels that way.
yes, you got an actual like voting. It's just interesting to see the names and everybody that people come up with and who they like and who they don't like. But still, let's see. Got Trey, who's been a member for 4 months, says, a message, do you guys think that they will have an announcement on the head coach by next Sunday afternoon? Has Bobby been told he ain't yet? So you're saying Sunday is in like 2 days from now, or Sunday
No,
is like
next
Sunday,
like after Thanksgiving.
So
God, I hope so.
Can we real quick before we address that? I've always felt that when you say like next Sunday, when the week starts, like the next Sunday would be Sunday, like this upcoming one, because the week starts
when you
on
say
Sunday.
Next, I think you were referring
Sunday
to
is
next
the Sunday
week.
in front of you. The next Sunday is you skip one.
If he
I
if he wanted to say, do you have the head coach by this Sunday? He would have just said, will we have an announcement by Sunday? Because that is, Sunday is coming up in 2 days or whatever. Next Sunday indicates that it's the next week.
So when you say, hey, we're going to be doing Inside Arkansas Live next Monday, do you think?
If I said next Monday, I would say, yeah, that would be next week. But if I were referencing Arkansas's or Inside Arkansas Live on Monday, I'd say, yeah, we'll see you guys Monday.
Okay.
I wouldn't say next Monday because it's the next.
Is Thanksgiving next Thursday?
Thanksgiving's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Okay.
No.
Again, doesn't matter. I was just curious.
If you say
but
next, you're indicating.
I understand where you're
coming
from.
Okay. Sorry, I just nobody cares literally about any of that conversation.
If you asked me to reference Inside Arkansas Live, I would say, yeah, we'll be back Monday. I wouldn't say next Monday.
Right. No, I get it. But to answer your question, sorry, Trey. I think yes. I would say I wouldn't say yes, but I'll say maybe on that Sunday, if you're not getting an official announcement, that'll be pretty much like, at least it better be at least like an indication of like, this is who they're getting.
Eric Morris will be leading a hog call by next Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, if he loses to Rice this week, it's over. They'll just go ahead and announce him.
Right? Well, I mean, he's got to go up against an atmosphere that's got free beer though. So if he loses this weekend, he's got a built-in excuse.
Yes.
It cracks me. I love the chat, man, because earlier we were talking about hats and somebody was in there was like, I prefer this conversation over talking about this football team.
People like this.
Now it's like, I prefer the days of the week conversation over the football team.
Which is so funny because that's basically what like our summer shows were all about, just nonsense like that. I mean, that's what makes it so much fun. Can get to a few more of your chats here. Jordan says, does Alumni Hall or Nike plan to ever release actual player jerseys?
Well, they have.
They do have DJ Wagner, 3J Wagner, as some would refer to him as. They do have that, but there's a lot, like, it's not the old days where you could just put like number 9 on a football jersey and then it's like, oh, it's Matt Jones, or number 5 and say it's Darren McFadden. Because of NIL and all that stuff, it's a little bit more difficult to make those things happen.
Yeah.
From my understanding. But
yes, if you want a DJ Wagner jersey, come on in.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was trying to think, if there was like a player that like over the past 5 years you could have a official jersey of, who would it be?
Larry Worth.
Well, real ones. Just of any sport, it would be the jersey you would want to wear.
You wouldn't want Larry Worth's jersey?
I mean, I wouldn't be my first option. No, it wouldn't be the first one I thought of. I
would get a Justin Thomas Jr. jersey, I think.
Okay. That's fair.
JT coming.
Yeah. Curtis, do you have an answer?
I don't know, man.
Devo. I know. I was gonna say like,
would it say Threvo or Devo on yours?
Yes.
Yeah. I would do. I do Anthony Black. I'm being honest.
Anthony Black's good.
Yeah. And Anthony Black is what I'd go for.
Would you want me to get a Grady Dick jersey?
Why would you want that, Andrew?
So we could jersey swap like they did. We could recreate their moment.
Well, why was that unique? What was there? Something to that?
By the way, shout out to the Natty State 6-pack. That was a segment we did one time because it was like right around that time period when AB and Grady did that.
Jeez, man.
Good days.
JD Note would be my actual answer, though. Just for the record, it's my guy.
Scotty would have a JD Note jersey. Yeah. He has a JD Note shirt. Dimebag Note. Shout out to him.
Yeah. Jeez.
That's his name on Instagram.
It is.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
That's
just, you got to make sure you just, clarify that for people that
also,
may not.
no, John Sullivan. I'm not getting no L. Ellis jersey.
No.
Yeah, it's tough.
I will not be, no disrespect to L. Ellis, but I will not be supporting his athletic career in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. That's a smart move. That's a smart move. We'll get
but
to
respectfully, though.
Nothing but respect. We'll continue to get to your chats, folks, live from Alumni Hall. But I want to remind everybody that Drain Masters of Arkansas is one of our official sponsors here on Inside Arkansas. Because listen, anytime that you have a plumbing issue or drain cleaning issue, it's not fun to deal with. You don't want to deal with it. You need it fixed right now. It could cause problems not only for your home, but also for your business. Well, let Drain Masters of Arkansas take care of you because they're the professionals. They're the best in the business, and they service Northwest Arkansas, the River Valley, Oklahoma, and beyond. And they have it with professional and reliable service. So that's why they are the best in the business. And if you need a service, all you got to do is request one by calling the number on your screen at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585, or scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you right to the website where you request a service. And when you do, be sure to say Inside Arkansas sent you, because when you do, you get 10% off all of their services. It doesn't matter how much you need done. You could have to overhaul the entire plumbing in your home or business. Inside Arkansas, tell them that we sent you, and you'll get 10% off of your services. Anything and everything plumbing related. No job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. Again, we are live here from Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. Appreciate everybody. Again, come by and use Hogs by 20 for 20% off of your purchase. I was happy with our guy Cade here who works at Alumni Hall. I was like, we have the double zeros on our jersey. I was like, so can you name me a player for Razorback basketball that was 00? And he goes, there was one when I was a real little kid. Trying to remember his name. Madden. It's like, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah. That one hurt.
that's
That one hurt.
tough, man.
He's like, I remember being at
Even I was in high school when that happened.
Yeah. And he's like, I remember being at a Mexican restaurant watching it and thought it was cool because his 00 Madden. I was like, dude,
Oh, no.
dude, man, come on now.
We're washed.
I know. I was like, I think I was entering in my red shirt third sophomore year at that point in time when that was going on. But really, yeah, just really put me in a blender there for everything that was going on. Yeah. Because I was hoping he was saying like Mike Washington, because at least that's a little bit back.
He's the real 00.
Yes. I think he might have been the very first one there too. So, but let's see. Again, these usernames, I got to make sure I get them right. The Potato Donuts. All right. Says Curtis, since Cal has come to Arkansas, has there been any concerning coaching style carryovers from his time at Kentucky that he's still trying there?
I mean, their inability to defend ball screens is pretty concerning to me. I remember it was really more the second Oscar Tshiebwe year, but just knowing that, hey, he's going to get a lot of rebounds and it's going to be weird for Arkansas to deal with, but just put that dude in pick and roll and go to work. And that's exactly what Eric Musselman did. And they had a lot of success against those guys. And I know that was something that drove people nuts at Kentucky. It drives me nuts here. And it was a really big issue for Arkansas last year. They did figure it out by the end of the year. It took a while. And it's really, really bad right now this year. So I'm going to assume that they're going to figure it out and get better there. The offensive stuff, it's not the most modern style or whatever in the world. Some people call it archaic. I've actually been pleasantly surprised based on what we were told coming into this with some of the things that he does offensively. Within the flow of the game, whatever. It's not what I would run, but I'm also not a Hall of Famer, so who cares? But I like his out of timeout stuff. Like he lets the chalk talk, man. If he draws up a baseline inbounds, they usually score on it. If you think about, okay, we're going to win the tip and we're going to run this lob play, nobody can ever stop it. They usually score and get their shot the first play coming to start the second half. And so there are a lot of things there that he does pretty well. I haven't been completely irritated with a lot of in-game stuff outside of that Michigan State shot, and that might have just been a busted play. Like it wasn't for Trevin to shoot that three, but the Texas Tech game in that big moment was like, okay, like that one sucked. But for me, it's really a lot of stuff on the defensive end more than the other side of the ball, and that's where he gets a lot of heat.
Yeah, and also too, I think I got asked that question by some Kentucky fans just even recently. It's like, why do you care? It's like I get it. Like I'm not talking about from this question, but it's more of like some Kentucky fan asked me, they're like, so is Cal still doing this over there? It's what we hated. It's like, like, dude, you just like lost a game over there. Like, why are you caring about stuff like this? But
I also think there's something too, like, 'cause I'm with you that there's always things that you don't love, and pretty much every single coach in every sport ever, there's things we can point to and be like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. The thing with Cal is like, that's never been the premise of what we're doing here. You know, it's not like when Arkansas hired Cal, we were like, dude, we're hiring him because he's going to implement all these awesome actions on offense, these cool sets, and schematically they're going to threaten. That was never part of the plan. The plan with Cal was bring in some of the most talented players, let them cook, and see if we can get the most out of them. And so if he doesn't do that, that's when I'll be upset. And maybe he won't. We'll see. But it's just like that's the premise where it's like if you hire, you know, a big offensive guru and it's like, oh, wait, sorry, are you not concerned that his defense has been mediocre? It's like, well, that's not why we're hiring him.
Yeah,
we're hiring him for this.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's see. Oh, another super chat here from our guy Josh. Appreciate it. But he says, can't debate with 150 characters. You need to do call-ins. It's about getting best coach, not just tearing down. Getting behind Morris is too much to ask.
Well, I mean, Kirby Smart's not available, so
right. Well, okay. So for Josh, we've been going back and forth. This is like 6 weeks now. We've been doing this, and like I get it. It's sometimes tough in a chat. My thing, and we've said this a lot, is like you can tell us that you don't like our opinions or that you think we're wrong, but you need to we need specific stuff. Like if there's something specific we can talk about and we want to go back and forth and you want to ask a question, we'll answer it. But it's like, I feel like we're just running around in circles on this Bobby Petrino thing. And we know the case for not hiring Bobby Petrino. We've eloquated it like thousands of times. We talk about it every day on the show. You don't have to agree, but like, tell us where we're wrong on that. Or if, Eric Morse, we've done a making the case. We've talked about his background. We've talked about that we like the Mike Leach coaching tree. We like the offense. We like the trajectory, young, energetic, get the boosters behind him, all that. You don't have to agree, but like tell us what part you don't agree with so we can properly, but it's like, yeah, it's hard to debate because it's like everything we say is just, oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. What am I wrong about? Tell me what I'm wrong about so we can go back and forth. It's hard to debate if it's just a one-sided, you're wrong. And we try, I feel like we give thoughtful answers.
Well, and again, it goes back to the whole thing of like, you can have different coaches that you can look at and say, hey, this could work out because there's so many of them that I'm sure if you look back in history, people thought that certain coaching hires were awful that ended up being all right. Not just at Arkansas, but just in general. And then there were other sides of it when coaching searches thought it was going to be awesome and it didn't work out. Like there's just so many examples to where it's okay to have some nuance surrounding it. Because, there's a lot of people going way back, but like when Nolan Richardson was hired, they were pissed. They were like, this is awful. I think it worked out. But then there are people that, for instance, like Brett Bielema, really excited. Hey, this guy was great. It didn't work out. So that's just the thing. It's like, you just got to take it into the lens of there may be some guys that you want more, but it doesn't mean that those are the only ones that are ever going to work out and everybody else is going to be bad. Like you just have to treat it that way. So
what I would like to do, because he's talking about this is about hiring the best coach. I agree. Well, who is that? Like you tell us at this point. I would like to turn the tables one day and just say, all right, everybody, you have to tell us who is the best coach for Arkansas. Who should they hire? And then we'll pull every one of them up and then we'll pick it apart.
Right.
Yeah. It sounds like
which is how this started because it was the Bobby thing. And then we were like,
right.
Hey, we don't like that. And then, that didn't go over well, but it's like, I think that's good. I like that.
Yeah. I think that would work. Also shout out to Cash Reeves. Apparently you just became a member, being an insider of Arkansas. So appreciate it, Cash. David says, John, are y'all going to do a football watch party for the Missouri game on YouTube? Nope.
Nah.
Sorry.
We're going to pretend that game didn't happen, but we will go live after, actually.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, here's the thing. We would have if they didn't change the game time. We were planning on it, having a big old event at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. But once they changed the game time on us, we're like, just can't do it. Just can't do it this time around. So, but yeah, I'll be, you talk about the crowd. I'll be really interested to see what that crowd looks like and what it all will be in consideration there. But let's see. Also, where was it? Oh, David says, guys, here's a serious question. Would Yurchek have fired Sam Pittman if he didn't have a plan to replace him?
Yes.
100%.
1,000%.
Like, I know that like sometimes we do the thing where like we give respect to the coaches and players and administrators and we say, oh, they know better than us. We give them that benefit of the doubt. I do not give that benefit of the doubt to Hunter Yurchek because he has not proved that he is deserving of it. And frankly, if they had a plan, I think we would have known about that plan by now. I don't think that like his long con was to be the first team to fire their coach and then end up being the last team to hire their coach, which does seem like a very real possibility here.
Yes, exactly. But that's the thing is sometimes I like to overthink things. I like to overanalyze things. It's fun because you can kind of connect dots, with the Brian Windhorst thing. But at the same time, sometimes we get way too in it where it's like we just assume authority figures always had a plan, because we just assume, well, they wouldn't have done this unless they knew what the result was going to be. It's like more often than not, it's not that at all. It's just what you got to do in that moment, and then you damage control and do it afterwards. Like, and you handle it afterwards. Like this idea of just like, well, they were waiting until they had a plan in place, and then they fired Sam Pittman, and then now they're executing that plan. That is not the case at all. Zero chance that's happened. Because let's be honest, they told it. They don't. I can verify this. Here's some sauces. They fired Sam Pittman well before that Notre Dame game. And they told him that. Like they told him, you ain't coming back, and that's why you saw what you saw in that Notre Dame game, which is just unfortunate. But I get it. Totally get it. Everybody just thinks they have plans.
Yep.
Let's see. We'll get to more of your chats, folks. Oh, another one from Cubs fan here. Appreciate the super chat, man. He says, I'm behind Morris to the point he is looking at me right over his shoulder with that look. Y'all sold me on making the case for him.
I like that a lot. I will say, I know we've defended Eric Morris a lot here, and like we talked about him the other day on the show, and we do like him. I think all three of us are pretty pro Eric Morris. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
It's not even really that we're like, oh, this has to be the guy, or that even this was like the top guy that we think is available. Like, I think there's plenty of guys you can make a case over Eric Morris for, and I will hear those cases out. Me personally, I don't have anything to doubt the Eric Morris thing right now. Like, and not that I think he's a for sure lock to be a great SEC coach, but it's like I've talked to people who just follow college football from a national level. I've talked to people in the state of Texas. I've talked to people that know Eric Morris, that played with him at Texas Tech, and that actually built their coaching careers around the same time. Like, everybody has great things to say about him and thinks that he's a winner and thinks that he's on a very positive trajectory. Maybe he's not. I just I don't know why we can't see the case for why he would be good.
Right. That's my thing. Roll the dice, man. Roll the dice on him, and I'll get behind him and I'll support him. Just as long as it all goes back to he's financially supported to succeed. That's the number one goal here. We'll get to more of your chats again live from Alumni Hall, but want to remind everybody, if you're needing a great place to go before the basketball game tonight, check out Goat Lab Brewery, Goat Lab Red right there in Fayetteville as well, 1214 North Garland Avenue, as they're going to have the game on, and they're doing their progressive wings again tonight, where if you sit down there and you order your wings, you'll have a chance to not only get a ton of great wings, but get them at the lowest discounted price, and even until they're free. It's that amazing that you could go out and check out the great deals that they have. They also have their signature burgers, their signature brews, and it's conveniently located right there close to campus. So if you want to do pregame action, make a Goat Lab Red. If you want to watch the game there and have the progressive wing deal, Goat Lab Red. And if you want to hang out post-game and bring in the weekend the right way, do it with Goat Lab Red. Again, 1214 North Garland Avenue. It's your pre- and post-game spot for Razorback football, basketball, and all things Razorbacks. It's Goat Lab Red. And we're live at Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville, guys, and I'm excited to see how it all turns out tonight. I'm hoping to hopefully have some, because I saw some. I don't know if you guys got the email that they were doing discounted tickets for tonight, and that's the first time they've done that this year. So I'm like, hey, maybe some ears are burning, and maybe some people are going to start doing some stuff. Let's hope
it's
so.
an attempt at all. I'll take that.
Yeah. They're at least trying to pass the buck, if you will, over to the to the fans who have been frustrated by not being able to afford to go. And so, I'm with you. Maybe they're starting to catch on a little bit, and you want butts in seats. So sure, discount the tickets. Let's see who shows up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I appreciate all the fans, by the way, who did, because those tickets don't just come out of nowhere. People turn them in, people, do whatever. So I appreciate that. I know, SeatGeek is officially the ticket selling partner of the University of Arkansas. And so, and I see a ton of seats on SeatGeek, most of which are pretty cheap as well. And so if tonight is a night where you don't have anything going on and you don't have a ton of money to spend, but you still want to go to the game, there's options for you.
That's right. Also, super chat from Josh, our guy Josh. Appreciate you, man. Guys, I agree with you 95% of the time. Love the show. Just disagree on Morris. I can get behind Alex, John, and even Silverfield.
And that's good. I like those guys too. I don't think you disagree with us, though. I think what happens here is we do these things where we bring up a particular coach and we dive into it and we engage with the chat. And so what happens is everybody tells us why he stinks, and we can't try to give you the other side of it. Just like if there was a unanimous coach where it was like, this guy is awesome, no doubt, we would probably do the thing where we'd say, okay, well, but consider this and that, and you'd have to keep an eye on this. So It's like I said on your very first super chat. I'm not trying to champion Eric Morris to anybody, just like I wasn't when I was saying, hey, why does everybody hate Silverfield or anything else? We're just talking about these guys from one side or the other. So we're not saying that you disagree with us, but we know how you feel, and we're just having some conversation here.
Correct. And also, too, just as a reminder, that I won't tell anybody what coach they want or anything like that. But the one thing I will say is, if you don't get the number one guy that you're wanting, like, don't just feel like it's a failure and it's awful and everything. At least give them a chance, at least, because I would hope as a Razorback fan that you would rather be completely wrong about a coach and he be awesome than be right about a coach and him been terrible. Like, I'm hoping most Razorback fans take that approach.
Well, and just like I was saying with the Cal thing of like how we didn't hire Cal with the premise that he was going to be this X's and O's guru. That wasn't like kind of the case for hiring him. And so, if someone had, when Arkansas hired Cal, said, oh, actually, this is going to be a horrible hire because he sucks at X's and O's. Well, I would have told that person they were stupid, because I would have been like, that's not the case for hiring him. We're hiring him because we think he's going to recruit, all that, yada, yada. I think a lot of times people have one thing they latch onto, whether it's NIL, whether it's play calling, whether it's recruiting, or if it's just, homegrown, where they're from, all that. And they find a thing they don't like and they dismiss it. And I guess for Josh, it's the record of Eric Morris at North Texas of like, oh, he's barely over 500. That would be the reason why. And I think that's a narrow-minded way of viewing all of these guys. And I think that for every single candidate, like all those guys you listed, Silverfield, there's pros, there's cons. So if Arkansas is going to hire Silverfield, here are the things you can be excited about. Here are the things you be concerned about. With Eric Morris, I think it's the same thing. You can be excited about the offense, excited about the quarterback, excited about having a young guy from Dallas, and it makes sense. Wife loves Arkansas, all that. The concern would be he doesn't have a ton of experience. He hasn't proven it in the SEC level, and that would be the thing. We're going into his tenure with that context of, hey, he's good here. He's unproven here. Let's see how this plays out. Same with Cal. We go into his tenure saying, oh, he's going to have good players. We know there's going to be excitement. Will he be good enough here? And like, that's kind of the context of the tenure that we go in with. I think guys need to be prepared to do that. Whether it's, because you're not going to get a guy that checks all the boxes, whether it's Golesh or whoever, there's going to be pros and cons. You kind of have to just go into the tenure knowing that context and see if it works for you.
Also, I wanted to bring this up from Heartbroken Hog. He says, did y'all see Matt Zenit's report that Kiffin might bring in Ed O onto his LSU staff? Made it sound like Lane into LSU is almost a done deal.
Well, so Ed O, I think Ed O has been very openly public saying, hey, I want to get back into coaching. I want to do this. And he basically was asked, would you be down to be Kiffin's assistant? And he was like, yeah, I was his assistant before, like, love working for him. All that's great. And so I would have to go back and read the full story. I just kind of saw the tweet. That's what I thought was happening, was that he was basically confirming, hey, Ed O has confirmed he would be down to join Lane Kiffin's staff if he were to go, to LSU or wherever. Maybe that's what he meant, was that, hey, so LSU and Lane Kiffin, it's a done deal. I don't know if that's necessarily the way we should interpret that. What did y'all think?
I mean, I just think it's funny.
I think it's funny too,
because it's like, the way the national media has been doing this is kind of interesting. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just saying, it's been kind of wacky, especially with the Lane Kiffin stuff. Everything surrounding Lane Kiffin has always just been very wacky.
It's always been very wacky indeed. That would be a heck of a combo.
Oh,
it's just
man,
like
yeah.
we were talking about. Sure, Arkansas will get Gruden and they'll bring Ed O on the staff or whatever. I would feel the same way about that. Like Kiffin, Orgeron, and LSU would be. I mean, it'd be buy a ticket to watch those practices or those coaching meetings or whatever. But I don't know, man. I'm still waiting. I turned Lane Kiffin's notifications on before we started the show because I'm like,
I saw that happen and I was kind of like, that's interesting.
I'm waiting to see what he's gonna do, because more than I think something would come out from the national guys or whatever. It just feels like he'd send one of his stupid tweets out, and it'd be worth seeing.
Lane told a funny story one time about when he was at USC of like something that Ed O did in a meeting room. Like he like threw a chair up against the wall or something to like fire up the team. Like they would always kind of like use Ed as like a, hey, give a speech that'll get everybody excited. And he like took his shirt off and like threw a chair at the wall or something. And this is like probably like a week before Lane Kiffin got fired at USC.
But that wouldn't be as weird having Ed O back at LSU as it was Petrino being back at Arkansas, right? Like,
no, it wouldn't be as weird. I don't. Nah, because I mean, he did leave LSU on weird terms, but like I think those people down there get it, and I don't think, especially if he's coming back as the D-line coach, where he's literally just there as a mascot hype guy, I think they'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for badness there, but again, it goes back to like if Lane goes to LSU, then it opens up Ole Miss, and that could just throw a whole nother wrench in all this stuff, which is
that would affect Arkansas way more than people realize. Like LSU's job being open doesn't help Arkansas, but that doesn't really affect Arkansas. Ole Miss opening would affect Arkansas. Same with Missouri.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Because then it's going to be what I feel like it'll wind up being is like an SEC battle for who gets Summerall. Because it seems like he might just be one step above, at least from the thought process of what people view him as nationally, of the other American Conference guys. And so it's like, all right, everybody's going to fight like hell. Whoever gets Summerall, and then, all right, Golesh, you go here. Morris, you go here. Silverfield, you go to Missouri, and then that's that. So we might be waiting around for a minute if Lane makes the move there.
Hey, I tell you, Summerall's got the best PR team in the country,
bro.
dude.
He is.
It's
It's unbelievable.
Because
You're right. He is definitely viewed well above Golesh, Morris, Silverfield, all these guys. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be, but is it really that big of a difference? Because people talk about him like he's like he might get the Florida job, might get the Auburn job, could get all these. He might get the LSU job.
He's like one of the few coaches that really haven't said anything totally of note as far as press conferences go.
He just had all these like national reporters write stories about him of like inside the mind of John Summerall, which that's when you're doing something right from a PR standpoint.
Did you see the inside the mind of Eric Morris that came out today? So.
I did.
That's true.
I love it.
That's true. Yeah.
QB guru Eric Morris.
That's right.
Yeah. Folks, we'll be doing our Walter Christmas lighting giveaway here in just a little bit too. So all those that went on our website, InsideArkansas.com, and submitted it. We're going to do the random drawing, and it will be random, completely random. I had a bunch of entries there, and we'll be looking forward to making that happen and doing that. But before we get to more of your chats and get into all of that, we want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're presented by our official law firm of Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better for you because when it comes to divorce and custody cases, we know it's extremely important to try and win and try to make sure you're protected, but you don't need to face it alone. That's why Hickey and Hull Law will provide you with the persistent and diligent representation that can help guide you through the entire process because they've handled thousands of family law cases and have experienced it in nearly every scenario that could ever come up. And the foundation of a strong attorney-client relationship is honesty and trust. And that's why Hickey and Hull Law prides themselves on building relationships with their clients by providing honest, principled advice as well as representation. So look no further. If you're going to need help, make things better by calling Hickey and Hull Law. They have offices across the state of Arkansas, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. Also call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. And also scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. Again, we're live here at Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. And guys, it was cold and rainy and stuff. It looks like it's going to be an awesome day here. So hopefully there'll be a raucous environment there tonight. A lot of people are going to be tuning in for the Razorback football game tomorrow too. And then the Thanksgiving holiday where everything's just going to be off the rails, which, by the way, just let everybody know, Inside Arkansas Live will not be live on Thanksgiving. I know, I'm sorry. And Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, we're also not going to be on the air. So a little holiday season.
But if you're looking for the Pod the Palace postgame show after the Duke game, that will happen on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So you will get programming. And I guess if they hired a coach on Thanksgiving Day, we'd probably have to.
I would, man.
I'd be so mad.
Don't.
Please don't do it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I shouldn't even put
I
that
think if
into
it were going to be
actually.
Thanksgiving, it would be Thanksgiving night at least, 8 p.m.
And if it's on Thanksgiving, that means the coaching hire sucks. Because
This
they're wanting to bury that thing into the dirt so nobody knows.
Well, it'd be weird to play the game Saturday with oh yeah, and this will be the last game for Petrino because they have already hired Tim Horton.
Tim Horton, ooh,
the former running back coach, not the coffee guy.
Oh yes. Glad you're able to verify that. So, let's see. David says, "What's a better job?" Arkansas or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
I would say Ole Miss.
Yeah. Football,
especially
right?
because one, their athletic director has a pulse, and they seem to have money. They have this jet company, Nicholas Air, that gives them $1 million every year. It's crazy.
Must be nice.
There's folks out there who think their influx of NIL has been directly tied to Lane Kiffin. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, but they've proven that they can generate that. They've proven. And it's not just a one-off. It's been multiple years now where they've been able to generate that. So maybe Arkansas can get there one day. They're not there now. So as it currently stands, I hate it. I think it sucks. I don't think it should always be this way. But, you got to say Ole Miss.
100% with you. And like that's not a historical, big picture, not something that can't change. In 3 years we might have this conversation. I might say Arkansas. One thing that I think has Ole Miss has in their favor is an athletic director who is an alpha that like has an ego. Think about if Lane Kiffin were to leave Ole Miss, that would be a tough look for them, of like, oh damn, you let Lane Kiffin go. You talk about that NIL. You think Keith Carter would just like let their program fall apart? No, he would try and make a big move, and he would probably have a big influx. He would start talking to boosters and donors and being like, we can never let this happen again. So I would imagine I don't think Ole Miss, if Lane Kiffin leaves, is just going to go back to being mid.
Also, too, that's why there's such a holdup on some of these coaching hires that may be made, because there are probably people that Arkansas is talking to, that Auburn's talking to, that they're sitting back and they may be like, oh, Arkansas or Auburn, whoever's my front runner, I want to do it, but I want to wait and see what happens with the Ole Miss situation, because then who knows, maybe they come and offer me more or give me a better deal because I'd rather go there. Like there's just all this wait and see approach. And then once, as we all know, once one hiring gets made, dominoes usually start falling into place pretty quickly.
I don't think that this Arkansas coach, I'm still optimistic they're going to make people are going to have their own personal thoughts on the hire regardless. I still feel confident that they're going to wind up with a good coach. I feel good about that. But we're talking about the dominoes and everything and how all this stuff is going on. And then you heard that crazy stuff last night about Kalen DeBoer and Penn State. And I do see a pathway to this getting down the road to the point where we would be having those those Gus Malzahn conversation and everything else. I don't think they're going to get there. But a week ago, I was like, there's no way in hell that they even get down that path. But you start to see some of these other things and you just knock one domino in the right direction. Then all of a sudden we're right there. Mm-hmm. That scares the heck out of me. So I want to subscribe to the Bobby Bones perspective.
Yes.
Hey, they've already got there. This has been super tight lipped and they have their guy and nobody's spoken on it whatsoever. Everyone relax. I sure hope so, because if things get wonky here with the Kiffin situation, we could have some really uncomfortable discussions over the course of the next week or so.
Oh, dude, if these dominoes start falling, man, someone asked earlier if Arkansas will have their guy by Sunday. They freaking better, honestly.
Because I'm telling you right now, because I'm with you on the Bobby Bones thing, and I'm not saying I would like justify it because I still don't like it, but it would at least give me a little bit of a better feeling if that was the case and they already have the guy and it's done and whatever. Of like Yurchek being on the college football playoff chair, like being that, I'll be like, okay, well. They had. I still don't like it, but it's like at least it wasn't this thing that he took on, still not knowing and still needing to focus on this. Like it would just be a better deal for everyone around, because it's kind of like the Brett Bielema thing with Jeff Long. They had that guy hired back in like April, and that's why they never interviewed anybody, because it was happening. That would be nice if that ends up being the case. But if we're sitting, I'm telling you right now, LSU is probably going to be the first SEC right now, or at least the next SEC team that makes a hire. I think if it ends up being Kiffin, Arkansas better be after that. Because you have to make a move here quick. And if you end up, if LSU gets filled and then Florida gets filled and then Auburn gets filled, well, if Ole Miss gets filled before you, if Lane Kiffin goes, then there's a major issue and you're about to be in dangerous waters.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's what sucks.
Now, where I'll start freaking out is if like if Oklahoma State announced Golesh or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they made their move and then the SEC dominoes are starting to fall and we haven't heard much on Arkansas, that's when I would be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because they are, at least in terms of, what people have been able to connect or whatever, it's like Stillwater and Fayetteville are fishing in the same waters right now. And that's, I don't know how I feel about that. But like we talked yesterday, maybe it was on the video game stream, but somebody was asking about the competition for some of these guys. And we even mentioned at the time, you're also looking at jobs that haven't opened yet, and Baylor was one that was immediately on my mind. Well, they announced Dave Aranda is coming back,
which is huge.
Yep.
If you're in the camp of, I would like to have Eric Morris or Jeff Traylor.
Baylor actually gave Arkansas the great combo of they're keeping their head coach and they're getting rid of their AD, which is a just really good situation for Arkansas.
Sounds great.
But here's my big concern, because I agree wholeheartedly, and like I always come back to like Arkansas when their option A doesn't work. Okay, you go to option B. When option B doesn't work, that's usually when Arkansas goes to option Z. and they just go with the easiest Dan Enos level thing. And that's what I fear is going to happen. Like, okay, you didn't get Franklin. Okay, all right, but you could still get, Galesh. You could still get Morris. You could still get Silverfield. I worry that they're going to like not get Galesh. Like Galesh would go to Oklahoma State, and then they would just skip right to Barry Linney. Like, I really do think that's what Arkansas would do, is they would not go through the proper channels and then say, okay, we didn't get a group of 5 guy, but let's go get a big time coordinator like a Will Stein. No, they won't do that. They will go right to Barry Linney if things go south.
My only other thought to this, because I forget what's right in front of us. I don't think it would get to that level of it, because I think if it did, then they just hire Bobby.
Yeah, no, that's what that's really what I'm worried about. For sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, it would have been most Arkansas thing ever if they didn't got rid of Dave Aranda or whatever. And like, what if like Yurchek was like going to get that AD job, and he was working the scenes behind to be like, I'm going to hire a coach, but I'm hiring Eric Morris at Arkansas. But as soon as that job opened up, people ran down there and hired Eric Morris down there.
Oh.
The old bait and switch approach. Be rough. There'd be rough scenes. So let's just hope that's not the case. It's not. Well, it's not, because I guess Aranda's coming back, but it's just. I don't know.
Hopefully Hunter is just taking the Baylor athletic director job with no strings attached.
Yes, let's hope so. Because I think someone even in the chat was like, what do you, where's your trust, or do you trust the athletic department and everything? It was like, or it's like, yeah, David says, how confident are you that the athletic department board trustee hasn't screwed this hire up completely? That's the thing is like, there's no reason for us to believe they for sure have, but it also wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
It definitely wouldn't surprise me, but it's like, I mean, until they hire Bobby Petrino, I won't say that, because I think of all these panic scenarios, and there are a lot of them, I think a lot of them still include Arkansas getting a Silverfield or Morris or Galesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, anyone who feels like a scolded dog who, you've been burned a number of times and you're skittish, your owner's trying to give you a treat.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take it because I know it could be good, but I don't trust you yet. It's kind of how I feel. Like I'm with you guys. Am I confident that this is going to be some kind of, miracle? Like I said, they found the cheat code to the coaching search. No, not really. But am I resigned to the fact that they've just completely screwed this up? No, I'm not that either. So I'm kind of with you, where it probably lies somewhere in the middle, and that could be okay for Arkansas.
Until all of those group of 5 guys are gone, until Galesh is off the table, Silverfield's off the table, Morris is off the table, Summerall's off the table, until all of them are gone, which will happen at some point, I at least will have a glimmer of hope.
So this is so stupid. I don't want to manifest this or even entertain it, but who cares? If they hired Bobby Petrino, do they do another reintroductory press conference?
No. You know what's funny?
Like,
here's my thing. Would you even say anything? Could you just keep him as the interim and just let it roll?
Just like they did with Pittman, like after last year, they didn't say, "Hey, he's our guy." They just kind of like, just let it roll.
I think that might be the move. No, I'm not saying it should be the move they should do. If you are going to do the Bobby thing, I don't think you promote him to head coach. I don't think you give him a real salary. I don't think you do anything. I think you just let it roll as the interim. Frankly, he'll be a 2-year interim. It would just be so funny. Like, it's like, hey, we're doing another a reintroductory press conference for our coach. And then he's like, got up there in the suit and he's like, I've always wanted this job. Like, what would it just be weird? Question, though, if they did not hire, just kept him as the interim, does his salary stay the same as the OC? Like, because whatever he was making, like 1 point whatever million, if all of a sudden, like, that's what you're doing, it's like low key. I don't even want to think about it. I think that would be the funniest thing for Arkansas to do, is to just not hire anybody. Just let it roll. Just wait until just see what happens. It's kind of like in Office Space when they were supposed to fire Melton, but no one ever told them. It's like the same thing with Bobby. Just like, we're not hiring you, but we're not firing you. So just hang out, because I think his contract's for another year. Yeah. What else are you going to do, Bobby? Yeah, where are you going to go? EMU? Yeah. You'll be all right. Exactly. Jeez, man. All right. Again, we're live here from Alumni Hall, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in and listening in. I guess it's time for our Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas official giveaway. Do we get Cameron to pick the number again? I think that's we got to do a tradition like no other, because it's going to be the second time we've done it. So we got to keep the tradition going and make that work. So hopefully this time we get someone like an actual person this time on the first try. There have been officially 247 entries. Wow. Into the Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas free install for your Christmas lighting. 247. Cameron, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 247. He says 80. Sky
We
Stars.
all can confirm that he did indeed say 80.
Yeah.
He did say 80.
So there's no
Little Chris
shady.
Gregg action here.
I thought he was going to say 6'7". So
Yeah,
too.
Drew Morgan. Yeah, Anthony Lucas. All right, so 80 is the number, and it is. Wow.
Read the
Is
address first.
that R Tamra?
No way.
I think it's spelled differently though.
yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah, no, because that's not her last
But
name.
let's see. Let's make sure the address. Okay, the River Valley. All right. So
This one
folks,
works,
this
though.
one works. This one's working. All
Okay.
right. Or sorry, it's in Springdale. Tamra Melton.
Tamra Melton.
Tamra Melton, you are the official winner of the Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas Christmas giveaway.
And to confirm this is you, your address is
yeah. Here's your phone number, your email,
Social is
all of that stuff. But congratulations, Tamra. We have your email, we have your information. We will be sure to pass it along to our guy Brett at Walter Christmas Lighting, and they will get you squared away. And they're going to have your house looking awesome this Christmas holiday.
I see some people I know on
Ah.
here. I see some people I know where
who's
I know where
close
you
to winning?
live.
Yeah, let's say there's some people here. I'm looking at it. Well, at first I saw somebody. I'm not going to say it was like I saw Lexington, but it was
Ooh.
actually a street name. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you. It was like
If I were in
Yeah.
charge of this thing, number
You would've rigged it?
82 would have won.
would have rigged it. So
Yeah.
Shout out to number
Yeah,
82
yeah.
on our board.
yeah, I can't imagine why that would have been the case. Why they would have won it. So
I see some regulars in there. Okay.
yeah. Like I said, we appreciate it. Appreciate Walter Christmas Lighting making it happen. And again, we'll be able to text you.
Just figuring it out.
Yeah. Brett to text you and getting your information. He'll text or email you, but we'll get you all squared away and they'll find a time, get you all the lights of what you want it to look like and everything. So congratulations, Tamra,
Yeah, good
making
stuff.
it happen.
Not to be confused with our Tamra.
Yeah,
This is
that's
a
why I
Tamra.
saw it. And I was like, well, I don't think Tamra would spell her name wrong.
Well,
in
she's
our
also
name.
not in the River Valley or Northwest Arkansas.
She also just tapped out. She said she's getting a migraine. She
Oh,
got to rest up before the game. So
I bet because of us, or was it just like
I
in
think the chat
general?
was getting onto her.
maybe just in general, but
Yeah.
Oh, for crying out loud, chat! Like, who would have guessed that the chat does things that are annoying? Wouldn't have guessed
we
it.
have it's a very specific percentage of female listenership. Like, stop running them off.
Seriously,
real.
it's like
Be
we need
nice, man.
all the females in our audiences we can get. It's like it's just a sausage fest around there, man. It's like we need more. It's like we want to expand to all different walks of life.
I think it's good for our PR though that a woman won this,
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
good.
Yeah, because we're
Agreed.
people are
and
gonna
that a woman almost won at number 82.
well, I'm about to say people are probably gonna accuse us of being woke. I'm sure of
Yeah.
you doing that, but
Inside Arkansas has gone too woke.
yeah,
Gotta
we've
stop
just
listening to
gone
them.
woke, just gone woke
I
on
can't
it.
wait for us to get that because one day someone will chat that to us.
I
and
mean,
be
we
like,
kind of had that
"Guys,
happen.
I'm out."
Remember when we were first hiring people, and certain people were like, "I don't see any women on you." Remember that whole thing?
Well,
Yeah.
they were. We weren't woke enough.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
I think right.
I don't know.
Like they were like, y'all need some diversity.
I
Y'all
think-
need some women.
I think everyone's stupid. So, okay. Well, again, we'll get in touch with you. I'll get our guy information over to Brett and all that too. And also, by the way, folks, want to remind everybody, if you have extra tickets that you cannot use tonight for the Razorback basketball game, just DM me, send them to me. And I got a bunch of Razorback fans that have been hitting me up saying, "Hey, if you got any tickets, let me know and I'll go." So just don't let them go to waste. But if you need somebody, if you're just wanting to give them away, shoot me a DM. We'll get them squared away, and we'll have some butts in your seats tonight for Arkansas and Jackson State. So excited about that. Again, 7:00 tip, Pot the Palace post game show. Following it, hopefully it's nothing like what we saw last game that we in Bud Walton Arena. I don't want any of
I wouldn't
that
hate seeing
again.
another fight though.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, why
that's
not?
fair. That's fair. I'd like well, as long as the fight is like out of not another team like beating the crap out of you, but more of a fight of like someone trying to punk you because you're beating the crap out of them, and you
Yeah, hopefully it's
Oh.
you're down by 50 and you're talking crap. Let me get you a little chop to the chest. I hope
Speaking,
that's
Yeah.
what we get.
speaking of fights in basketball games, y'all see the kid from New Mexico
yes.
punch the dude in the face?
I did not
Yes.
see
Just like
that.
randomly. It was the weirdest thing. I think they were playing Nebraska ball, and so dude came up with a rebound or whatever. He's getting ready to dribble it up the court, and this dude from New Mexico just came up behind him, punched him square in the face, and then went running down the floor as if nothing
Is
happened.
Patino Jr. still in New Mexico?
Now he's at Xavier now,
Yeah,
but
I did see that.
he like knocked the kid's tooth out.
Damn.
Dude.
And then he did an apology thing
Well-
on Twitter, and then everybody's like, but he apologized. He's like, that's not how I represent New Mexico. I apologize to this fan base, and I apologize to my teammates and my coaches. Didn't apologize to the guy he punched in the face.
But apologize to Lobo Nation.
That's
Crazy,
right.
man. Yeah, it was wild.
I know, like, not to get on a soapbox here, but I see sometimes videos of like in high school and stuff, like a guy just sucker punch another player and stuff. Can we get back to the point where if you do something like that, you're banned like for life from playing? Like that's just something to where you got to set an example and a precedent. Because I see so many people be like, well, what did the other guy say? I'm like, it doesn't matter what the other guy said. It's like there's trash talk as part of the game, and obviously that's what officials and everybody have to police it. But if you just there's zero circumstances to ever go up to somebody and just give them the old 1-2 and be like, oh, well, this kid, what do you expect him to do? I mean, this guy said something.
I have another one of those to bring up. I would have done the videos, but listen, we're experimenting with some stuff today. I think for the Pot at the Palace post-game show, I think we're trying StreamYard again. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We are.
And so that should be fun. But anyway, did you guys also see the Memphis Purdue thing where Aaron Bradshaw, 7'1", 180 pounds, he was like sprinting back down the floor in transition. He just ran straight into Purdue's big guy who was just standing there, and it flattened him. Like he hit him. It was like running into a brick wall, and he went down. And it was like, dang, did this dude get knocked out? And then he jumped up real quick and got in the guy's face as if he set a dirty pick on him or whatever. It was the weakest move I've ever seen. People have been making fun of him online. It was pathetic. I'll have to show you guys.
Yeah, I love that because there's still, and I know we talked about it earlier, but there were still people that were like putting out videos and breakdowns of how Nick Pringle was in the wrong and how it's just like he should
absolute
be
nerds.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about?
You could. I disagree wholeheartedly. You could make a slight argument that 51 was tied up under his guy, like he was like tripped over his own guy and then grabbed Pringle by the neck to bring him down, that it was actually an accident on his part. But there's no way in hell Pringle could have known that in the situation. You had a guy grab you by the neck, drag you down to the floor,
and he held restraint too. Like
he did.
He grabbed him, but he didn't shove him. He didn't throw him. He didn't touch him. He didn't punch him. He held a lot of restraint when he kind of, I'm surprised he did, frankly.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we get out of here, again, appreciate everybody listening. And I want to bring this up from our guy Kingsley. He said that ESPN just announced at 30 for 30 for Stuart Scott being members of the media. How do you remember Stu, and how did he impact you? I'll say this, like, again, Stuart Scott was just like a cool guy. And as a sports fan, as a kid, SportsCenter is not this way anymore. ESPN in general is not this way anymore. But it was like, there was an element as me as a kid where I would if I turn on SportsCenter ESPN, I'm like, these are the coolest people I know. And Stuart Scott was that guy. I mean, just his little quips of, cooler than the other side of the pillow, and the team, the chemistry that he had with other people. Like, he was just cool. And like, that's something that I think a lot of people are missing, where, yeah, you could be great in talking sports and you sound good and all that, but if you got a coolness factor to you just because of what you say, that's power you can't buy.
He was a trendsetter for it, man. Like, many have tried after him, but nobody will ever be like Stuart Scott. He was the man. And really like a powerful story and everything. When his book came out, like I bought that book. I've read it like 3 times. And so there's a lot of motivational stuff to be there. But yeah, man, some of my favorite moments of my childhood and everything were involved him, and turning on and hearing him. Nothing better than if he was the guy on SportsCenter the night of an Arkansas game or whatever. Like, he was the man. He was built different.
100%. I mean, I love the catchphrases. He loves sports, which, nowadays is kind of crazy. And this is coming from media guys, but with some media guys, you sometimes wonder, do they love the sports? Like, do they enjoy what are they doing here? Are they trying to position themselves in some certain way? Are they trying to push a narrative one way or other? And I know that's like, most media guys are just guys trying to do their job and aren't really in that game. But Stuart Scott, like, I just remember as a kid growing up, those were the kinds of things I never thought about. Of like, I just was like, hey, this guy, he's doing the highlights, and he loves these sports, and like, you could see it, the way he interacts, the way he talks, and all that. But when I think of Stuart Scott, I think of a lot of great moments, but I also think of Lil Wayne, three-peat. I got game like Stuart Scott, fresh out the ESPN spot. Just good stuff.
Oh, and last one before we get out of here from Alumni Hall. Our guy Kingsley comes in. He's been a member for 6 months, and he says, went back to work this week. I haven't rang the bell at therapy, but Doc says we're on the way. Thanks for all the prayers. Let's finish strong.
Love to hear that, man.
Keep up the grind, man.
He's had a long road with this leg, man. I mean, dude, breaking your leg is just not a fun thing to do. Doesn't sound like. So happy to hear you back at work, man. That's awesome, and best of luck on the rest of the road, man.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here today from Alumni Hall?
Yeah. I mean, if you can, get out to the game tonight and support those Razorbacks. It should be a fun one if you're into, dunks and blowing a team out. Hopefully that's exactly what we see.
Here's open.
Regardless of what happens, for better or for worse, we will be live afterwards for the Pod the Palace post-game show. So tune in with us, get those reactions in, because we won't be able to do this again until Thanksgiving night. So take advantage of it while it's here.
Yeah, tonight's game will not determine our legacy. It will not determine our season. It will not be one we tell our grandkids about, but we get to go to Bud Walton Arena and watch Arkansas win a basketball game. And any day when you get to do that is a good day. As you always say, like in the summer when you're waiting for the season, you would kill for these type of games. Imagine in like June, if I could have been like, hey, tomorrow you get to watch Arkansas play at Bud Walton and beat Jackson State. You would have loved that.
No doubt.
Don't take it for granted tonight. It doesn't have to mean anything, but just have fun.
That's right. Couldn't have said it better myself. No, appreciate everybody tuning in, being patient with us as we're, trying some new things out and trying to fix some things too. But we appreciate you. Appreciate Alumni Hall once again having us out here, as we'll be live once again in December for a date to be determined. We'll let everybody know about it. But if you are going to the game tonight and need you some of the latest and newest Razorback apparel, especially when it comes to Razorback basketball, stop by Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue. Use the promo code HOGSBY20 and get that 20% off your purchase. That'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron back there, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next Monday, have a great rest of your day, everybody.